Hey y'all, it's Kirk here with episode 7 of Ask Dr. Kirk. Out here scouting out a new spot on my lunch break. I'm not wearing my snake boots, so rolling the dice. Not a smart move, guys. Today's episode brought to you by Jeb's Pro Shop. I'll have the link down below. All your hunting needs, whatever the game, remember the name, Jeb's. I'll have it down there. Y'all check out the boys. Episode 7. So I have a good question from a Miss Jennifer in Pooler, Georgia. Miss Jennifer says, is there any official diagnosis of smartphone addiction? Miss Jennifer. Okay, put on your boots. Miss Jennifer wants me to step on toes today. So an official diagnosis of smartphone addiction. At this time, there's not. So what the psychologists go by is something called the DSM, which is the Diagnostic Statistical Manual that has all of the diagnoses of official psychological diagnoses. They're on version 5. That's why it's DSM-5 right now. All psychologists right now are agreeing that there needs to be a limitation on screen time. There's been a lot of research done on screen time when it comes to pediatrics. And then there's been some recommendations by the American Academy of Pediatrics regarding what's healthy use. And these are just kind of basic guidelines. So, but there's no official diagnosis of you being necessarily addicted to something. Now, the DSM at the very end of this latest version did have a suggested diagnosis that needs further research called internet gaming addiction, which has some, as you can imagine, has some overlap in some of the same kind of symptoms that they're seeing in pediatrics. And that's going to be a diagnosis for later on. However, they are predicting that there is going to be at some point going to be a official diagnosis of a screen time or smartphone type of addiction thing. So just really quickly, the pediatric guidelines for screen time is before 18 months old, of course, no screen time. Then we start getting into the past that. When we get into ages 2 to 5, the recommendations are for 1 hour of screen time a day. And then when you go to 6 years old and past that, there's no official recommendations on time. However, this is where they start prefacing families need to make some sort of consistent, and the key word is consistent, rules in which we do this, because now you start plugging in some of your parenting styles of reward and punishment systems that parents are smartly right now linking use of screens and the internet and smartphones and pads and tablets and all of those kind of things, which is part of many people's parenting paradigms, I'll say, where they're being able to reward and punish. And so there needs to be some sort of consistency in a family's plan past 6 years old for screen time. Okay, so why is this a big deal? It's a big deal because this starts to overlap with some other diagnoses that are well established, such as ADHD, anxiety, social interaction and social awkwardness. I mean, let's talk about it, guys. Y'all seen this generation of kids that grew up with screens and everything. They are awkward. And I'm speaking about my own kids. My sons don't necessarily have the social sharpness that I feel like our generation had, because they just don't have to talk to people and they're on their screens more than they're not. So, we try to have some limitations and things. It's really tough because most of the world actually functions on the internet and having access to this and that. So, and how we speak with each other and communicate with each other is on Twitter, or, even our school stuff, pay attention to the website here, and all of our announcements are going to be on that, so part of this is certainly our fault as well, because the world is just flat out evolving to this kind of communication. And if it becomes an everyday part of life, then how is it going to be affecting us interpersonally, psychologically, socially? We're starting to see the ramifications of that. So the research is ongoing right now on these kind of things and trying to figure out how this is affecting us and our own problems and awkwardnesses. So here's where it is interesting to me, and I want you guys to be honest with yourselves and look at yourselves on this. We are very quickly, what I just talked about, very quick to say, well, yeah, we need to have screen time for these kids. Man, these kids, we need to have, well, this is all for the kids. What about us, y'all? Let's be honest. I mean, I'm doing this thing right now on my smartphone. So when do I ever put this thing down? Um, this is the look in the mirror moment, y'all, because we are all uh, behaving differently now that we have this wonderful access to all the world's information at our fingertips. It's a wonderful thing, but it is a Pandora's box that we've opened, and a double-edged sword, and every other kind of phrase you want to use, talking about its evils versus its good. This is something we all have to weigh out. I made it a point a few years back, my New Year's resolution. I make one every year. And my New Year's resolution a couple of years back was I was not going to bring my smartphone to the table anymore. So supper with my family, meal with my family, or whatever, smartphone doesn't come. Or if it's with me, it's in my pocket, or it's on the side, or I put it down. I'm not going to look at it, even when we're out to eat. Now, here's the problem: is I made that rule for myself. So what does that usually mean? That means I'm sitting here going and staring at my kids who are doing this. So what did it do? I don't know. Maybe I'm trying to lead by example. I need to disconnect. I feel it in me. I need to disconnect. I need to be away from it at some point. And so we all need to. And the psychologist will tell you that we need to unplug from things and reduce our stimulation about 30 minutes to an hour before bedtime to shut our brain off. That's out there in the sleep study research. Think about that scenario. Do you do that? What's your night like? Is this phone sleeping with you? And when you roll over, you're going to check something? Am I stepping on some toes there? Before bed, winding down and unplugging for like an hour before bed to relax your brain in order to get better sleep. That study's out there. Do we do that? No. Or do you sit in the bed and you scroll until you're sleepy? Or do you have the TV on and you're watching TV until you go to sleep? Man, the stimulation going on with your brain at that time, and then you're just supposed to just go to sleep? Not when I just, watch Dateline. I'm scared. So think about it that way. Is this something that we can work towards? Why don't we do this? Here's my pact I'm going to make with myself. Do it yourself if you'd like to as well. But for the health of ourselves, I'm going to carve out time every day, whether it be at the end of the night, we'll try to do that one, or sometime in the middle of the day. I'm going to put my phone away and away from me, and don't talk it. Don't touch it. Don't do nothing. What do you think about that? Would you go through withdrawal symptoms? Would you have some anxiety not being able to check it? Does your use of smartphones and the internet and pads and whatever else, does it interfere with your tasks you need to get done? Does it interfere with your relationships? If you answered yes to any of those questions, you realize I just named the criteria for addiction. So how about that, Miss Jennifer? We have that kind of addiction already. And we may not have an official diagnosis. If you said yes or said, ooh, to some of those, we're there. Watch out. Dr. Kirk throwing truth bombs. So what can we do, guys? I don't know. I don't know the answer to this question. I just know that we need to make some efforts. So, Miss Jennifer in Pooler, Georgia. By the way, my wife loves your outlets. Let her come see you so I can hunt some more. Thank you for the question. I hope that helps. Y'all, this is an ongoing one. I'd love to see the comments down at the bottom on this one. Let's make some efforts. Carve out some time, put it away. Let's see what happens, okay? Love y'all, mean it. See you in the next one.